Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of this newsletter is going to be why she broke your date. Got an email here from a viewer, and he says, "Hey Corey, first off, I want to say thank you for your videos and your articles, and they've been a great help." He says, "I have this girl I've been seeing for approximately 3 weeks. She contacted me over the internet saying how smart I looked in my pictures." Translation, you look really handsome in your pictures. It wasn't that you looked smart. She just liked the way you looked. You physically met her minimum standards of attraction. So on a scale of 1 to 10, she perceived you as being at least a 5 or better. And that's why she reached out to you. And that's great. When a girl reaches out to you, it's a lot easier to plan dates with her as opposed to a girl that you're contacting first, especially like with online dating. He says, "We exchanged emails and text for a day and then arranged to meet in a local bar a few days later. All went well, and we were chatting for a while, and we kissed after our first date. We arranged to meet again that weekend for dinner." That's a mistake right then and there on the spot. In my book, when you go out on a date, you have a great date, maybe you kiss her, obviously you want to go for the kiss, but maybe the making out leads to more heavy petting. Maybe it leads to you inviting her back to your place, or she invites you back to hers, and then you seduce her. Or maybe it doesn't. Maybe it takes a second or the third date. It's because not every woman, most women, the average woman, you're going to usually be able to sleep with by the second or third date. He says, "This girl would be texting me every day, talking to me about general BS, and I did the same." He says in parentheses, "I know that was wrong." But these are all little things that you're doing that are turning this girl off, and obviously leading to the reason why you wrote me in the first place. He says, "The day before our dinner date, she texted me asking if it could change for lunch as she had to travel to her parents that night as she was staying with them for the next week." He says, "I agreed." He says, another mistake. Because what she's doing is, in other words, it's not about the parents. It may be, but more than likely, it's like she wants to go to lunch. Think about it. And I talk about this a lot. If you want to be her lover, act like her lover. If you want to be her friend, act like her friend. And so, in a way, I'm looking at this as thinking maybe things are moving a little too fast, and so she's trying to do something that you don't do in the evening, like go to lunch. That way, the kissing doesn't come up. It's not like you're picking her up at her house or you're taking her home, that kind of thing. And I would have just said, because, again, the whole purpose of a date is to create an opportunity for sex to happen. So she says, "Hey, let's go to lunch because I got to do something later that night with my parents." Well, if you're going to lunch, then that's just it. You're going to lunch. And I would just say, "Hey, well, I'm jammed up. I wish I could meet you for lunch, but I can't. We'll just have to do it some other time." And you say it like that. Because if she hasn't, she brought it, just say, "We'll have to do it some other time, so when are you free to reschedule?" And then you ask that. And so if she really wants to reschedule, she'll make definite plans for some time in the evening, maybe a week. Because when a girl starts to do that, plan the next date for a week out in the future. He says, "We met up and all went well again. We kissed after our second date." He says, "The next week I didn't hear from her and I didn't contact her either, as I guess she was busy doing family stuff. When she got back to town, I called her to ask how her week was with her family and asked if she fancied going out for dinner this week. She agreed and a time of 7 was arranged for me to pick her up." He says, "As I didn't know her address, she said she would text it to me during the week. I didn't contact her for the next few days, and on the day of the date, she had not given me her address. An hour before I was supposed to pick her up, I texted her and stated that I couldn't take her out for dinner and for a fun time without knowing her address." Your response is basically you're apologizing for asking for her address now. And so here's the deal. She canceled the date with the lunch. That's in essence what she was doing, and you should have recognized that as the fact that, number one, you made a big mistake by planning a second date before the first date was even over. That shows you're overeager, over-anxious, and basically too afraid to let her get out of your sight without planning a new date because you're afraid she won't set one with you if you call her later. Those are all, you might not think they're a big deal, but it's a huge blunder, and that's why it's one of the reasons why you got rejected here. So what I would have texted if I would have been in that situation, I would have just said, hey, if the day I would have said, hey, what's your address? Question mark, and I would have just sent that. But the way you stated it, you're just basically apologizing for asking for her address, which is weak. He says she didn't reply and the date didn't go ahead. He says, I haven't heard from her, nor have I contacted her since. He says, my question is, what do I do now? Do I bother trying to speak to this girl again, or should I just move on to the next one? Don't ever call, don't ever text her again. She was rude. You had a date set, and then she blew you off. And that was why she didn't give you the address the first time, is because she didn't want you coming to her house. That was her way of holding a little card of power, and so that way she can blow you off and she doesn't have to give you the address. And so she really didn't want to make a date with you. And like I said, where you really fucked up is you fucked up on your first date, and then it just kind of went sideways from there. But like I said, there's a lot of little things you were doing wrong, and obviously you've read my book now, so you probably know what a lot of those were. But like I said, you just can't make too many mistakes with a girl before she judges you as being weak and needy and blows you off, like this particular girl did. And so, I mean, the bottom line is you were meeting up and doing things, so why wouldn't you continue to do the same thing? Why would you even want to go pick her up if she's willing to meet you out somewhere? And it's like, keep it simple at that point. So if you have a question you want to ask me, go to my website, click the Contact Me tab, which will be on the left-hand side of your screen, and send me 1 to 2 paragraphs max, and just give me several days to get back to you with a response. If you want to talk to me right away, the quickest way to get my help is to book a paid phone coaching session. You can do that by going to my website, click the Products tab, which will be at the top of your screen, and just follow the instructions. If you want to get a digital version of my Kindle ebook, on my website, underneath the email sign-up box, is a box that has a link that will take you right to the Amazon Kindle download page. Once you get there, if you don't have a Kindle device, just download one of their free e-reader apps for your smartphone, tablet device, or your computer. And if you appreciate the value of the information that I offer in my these video newsletters, the articles on my website, and my ebook, you can show your appreciation by going to my website on the Wibby toolbar at the bottom of your screen. Click the PayPal donate button and donate any amount that you feel is equal to the value of the information. And I will talk to you soon.